Peter, dear boy. You've got to be careful not to clap him round those broad shoulders, because he had the biggest high side of his life at Clearways last weekend at Brands Hatch. And what was the after effect, Pete? I can't breathe.
Something like that. Yeah, I was sat in the gravel trying to catch my breath, and the marshal or the medic next to me is going, "You all right, mate? You all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I couldn't quite get my words out, but they dragged me off after a few minutes because I didn't get up. But it was all right, you know. It was a bit of a crap weekend for myself, but other than that, everything's been going really good.
So you've had a test day at Alton Park, incidentally, is the next stop for British Superbikes. That happens next weekend. So you had a test day there on Thursday or Friday? And how did that go? You were there?
Yeah, we went along on Friday, and Alton Park, as most people know, is probably one of the most challenging circuits in the country. And I was still a bit sore and stiff in the morning, but I'd soon loosened up by the time I got down Cascades. It was it was a really good test actually. Really strong. The bike was working really well again, and we learnt a lot at Brands. Brands was a really hard meeting for us, and we learnt a lot about the bike, and what we had learnt we put into Alton Park, and straight away the bike was really good, you know. And we finished 6th at the end of the day, and I did my fastest ever lap around the course, so really happy.
And you're putting the BMW in amongst the, there's a phalanx of Kawasaki's running at the front of British Superbikes, and you're kind of nudging in there with the Beamer, fastest BMW at Donington Park.
Yeah, it was really strong, you know. The bike's really good, and it's brand new to us, to the Lee Hardy racing team, the Royal Air Force, but I've ridden the BMs before, so I've got a little bit of an idea of where we need to go. But the new bike, the new S1000RR, is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I'm not lying when I say the engine's absolutely stock as it comes from BM factory. It's not even got a kit head gasket on it or anything, and it's, well, at Alton Park on Friday I was the fastest through the speed trap, and that's just ridiculous from a standard bike with a 6'2" lad on it, and it's still fastest through the speed traps with a stock engine. So it just shows how good the bike is.
This 6'2", the one thing that these lads can't actually have any control over is their height, isn't it? Because there's so many lads, when I first start commentating on them, they're like 5 foot nothing, and then the next time you see them, they're 6'2", and you've got no choice in the matter, have you? When did you start to grow? Because you kicked off in mini moto, didn't you? So it must have been little once.
No, I wasn't. I actually started really late. So I started at about 12, 13 years old, and I was already not far off 6 foot then. So
what were you riding then?
Yeah, mini motos.
Yeah. So you did do mini moto, but you were big.
Yeah, I just had to kind of fold myself onto it really, but I can still do actually. Every now and then in the winter, I'll go off and do a little bit of mini moto racing with the old club that I used to race with. It's good fun.
And where do you do that? Is it indoors or out?
No, outdoors normally at Wilton Mill in Northamptonshire, but we go all over the place. A place called Stretton in Leicester, and there's loads of places.
I can't visualise how you'd fit yourself onto a mini motorbike.
Mate, I tell you what, when I started racing, there was a guy who was 6'4" and 15 stone racing one, and I tell you what, he was fast, like really fast. But yeah, there's some proper big guys going to race mini motos. They're a really good, fun little thing, and really relevant to what we're doing as a big bike, you know.
I was going to say, what do you learn from it?
Yeah, it's really, racecraft and everything is really good. Like when you see all these 6-year-olds riding around on them, and they're two-wheel drifting in and out of all the corners, mate, it's proper good, really, really good.
And along the way, as throughout you're 28 now, so you've been doing this for a fair while. You were one of the youngest men into BSB on a Hawk Kawasaki, weren't you?
Yeah, I jumped up to thousands quite early, so I was actually first rode 1,000 when I was 16. You have to be 17 to race 1,000, but I told everyone it was a 600. I went and did the odd test day or two. I actually didn't race the first round in 2004 when I was 16 because I was 16. I missed the first round, but after that I was able to ride, and I've been riding thousands ever since. So good 11 years on big bikes, and I did super stock for 2 years, and then super white since 2006. I took 1 year out in 2008 to run super stock, and then back to super bike again. So yeah, I've ridden super bikes quite a bit, and but never in teams that are really strong or really strong bikes, really, to be fair, until now.
And tell us a bit about this team that he races for is called RAF Reserves, and I don't know about you guys, but I know that you kind of have reserve army people called the territorials and stuff like that. But what exactly does RAF Reserves mean? What Lee Hardy, who runs the team, what is his job and what is that all about?
Yeah, well, the reserves is exactly as it sounds. You know, you're a reserve. You can do 28 days a year with the reserves. Any days that you like. You can do it on weekends or in the week. If you've ever got a day spare, it's something that you can do with the Royal Air Force. And it's a paid job still, so you still get paid for your 28 days or however more you want to do. And they're just trying to recruit a bit like the TA and also the Navy as well. They're trying to recruit more and more people into the Air Force because the numbers are dropping. So the Royal Air Force Reserves are actually putting money into the team because they're using us for advertising to get more people through the door. And straight away, it's already working, so it's really doing good.
And what sort of things do people do in the RAF Reserve then? I mean, you don't get to fly aeroplanes, do you? What do you do?
I don't think they're going to lay you out in a typhoon straight away when you've only on 28 days with them, but I think pretty much any job you want. Pretty much they do all sorts of stuff, so you can do anything you want.
And what about this year British Superbikes then? What's the aim? You've got these Kawasaki's to deal with.
Yeah, I've got Walker to keep barging out of the way every 5 minutes. Yeah. No, it's the aim's to win, obviously, always. But realistically, I think we could be in the top 6. Already we've shown we're strong and we've not really ridden the bike properly and done a lot of testing. So, if we end up in the showdown, I'll be happy. And then if we do end up in the showdown, I'll be pushing for the wins. And hopefully we'll be doing that during the year anyway.
And what about your? This is a man who somewhere along the line actually learned. He actually learned a day job, folks. Did you actually qualify as a plumber? Was that something you fitted in somewhere along the way?
No, I never did any qualifications at all. But
plasterer. Was it? It was plasterer.
Yeah, but I've done all sorts. When I left school, I was a sheet metal engineer and powder coater. So I did that for a couple of years, and then went into building trade. I've done tiling, plastering. I've done everything. As long as I got paid at the end of it, I didn't really care what I was doing.
But plastering's quite a fine art. How did you? Who did you pick that skill up from?
I literally learned on the job. A friend of mine that I grew up with from school, his dad was a plasterer and they were plastering. And when I'd finished with the engineering shop that I was with, I went and worked for him basically. But I did it for a good 7 years, and I just learned everything off him. It is a hard trade. It takes a long time. There's a lot to it. So it was good.
Excellent, mate. Well, it's good to see you with. I tell you what, it's good to see you with a really strong ride. So hopefully you. Are we going to get through all of these, right? Look at that list I've just been given. This is a bit of a who's who here, folks. Hickman, Cooper, Hillier, Stableford, Bradshaw. This is a pretty impressive list of national heroes on 2 wheels. So, Peter, I'd better thank you very much indeed, and enjoy the rest of the day. If you want to get autographs and chat to these guys, of course, you can see where they are, especially the tall ones. In
a BMW shirt.
In a BMW shirt, yes. Peter Hickman, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Pete. Thank you. So look, in complete contrast, the next man I've got on my list has spent the last 10 years trying to put weight on, but he remains obstinately 9 stone dripping wet. I've told him that it will be something he'll be thankful for in the future as he grows older and other people around him are getting fat and lazy. But please will you welcome a man who does ride for Kawasaki, for the Anvil Hire Tag Racing Team, Richard Cooper, ladies and gentlemen. In his kit, notice he's ready to take you on a test ride around the local street. How long a course have you got mapped out then for these guys to go around?
Fastest time yesterday was about 22 minutes. So
I'm not talking fastest time. I didn't think you were taking them on a race.
No, we're taking test rides out today, so if anybody wants to get booked in for a test ride, we have a nice run out to Beaver Castle, to the top of the hill there, turn right to get onto the 852 and back here. And it's a nice little ride, and you get to demonstrate the bikes and in safe hands with myself and Mark Davis.
In safe hands. Is that if you can keep up with yourself and Mark Davis? So look, you've had a pretty bright start to the year. You have spent a little bit of time stuck behind a certain proprietor of this new motorcycle emporium though, haven't you?
Yeah, the return to British Superbike this year for me after quite a severe injury last year to the right arm. For me, it's been about building the confidence back up with the team and getting back to full fitness. And I've seen so much of Chris Walker this year. It's untrue. I think just about every every picture that I've been sent, Walker is in front of me, and it's nice to learn from him, but I would like to make a move on him at some point. So I feel, you know, going into Alton Park, we've got a target. We need to try and beat Walker first, really, and then progress from there, and hopefully build on the remainder of the year, confidence, strength-wise, and also with the team.
And Richard, of course, is a former national Superstock 1000 champion. Was it riding BMW, was it? Riding BMW. And also, back in the day, you had long association with BMW because you did European Superstock series with them. We had you on the podium at Brno once in the Czech Republic, which it's a great little treat to have you up there. So you've got a wide experience, haven't you, in your 30 years?
Yeah, I mean, I've been racing 16 years now, and to be fair, my experience, I've probably raced just about every circuit that's possible. I did 5 years in Europe, I went to America, I went to Qatar. You know, I've got a vast experience. I could probably go to any circuit and know pretty much which way it goes from day one, which is quite something that, you know, you can't buy that experience. It's something that you have to learn. I do enjoy racing in Britain, and I do think that that's where my future will lie. You know, I probably won't go back to European racing. I like my own comforts. I like to go home at night. I like to get in my own bed and have a cup of tea, like we all do. You know, I have a 9-to-5 job just like anybody else, and at weekends I ride a British Superbike. You know, that's what we choose to do, and I enjoy it.
Your 9-to-5 job, is that still the same one that you did? You changed from being white van man, but these guys, a lot of these guys have really regular jobs where they've got to earn themselves a bit of a living and as well as race the bike. So is it still very much driving a van for Pitcocks?
Yeah, I guess I'm a competitor of Chris's now. Now he's got a shop again because I work for a different bike dealership. I drive the van 9 to 5, like, you know, like a normal job. I see customers on a Monday morning, and sometimes they recognise me and they go, "Oh, I was watching you at the weekend," you know. And some people, you know, they don't know who you are from the next person, and I quite enjoy that part of my job because it's nice to go into work on a Monday morning and sometimes forget about the racing because we've not always had the best weekend, or it's not gone like the way that we wanted to, and, you know, get back in the routine, get back to work, and just crack on with things really, and then, you know, work on to the next meeting.
It is British Superbikes this year. It really is. It's the deepest field that we've had for a long, long time, isn't it? So you know that you're going to be working hard to be in that top 10, aren't you?
It's massively hard this year, you know, and it's difficult as a racer, and like Pete said, we all want to win, we all want to go win races, but realistically, when you go to the BSB this year, if you're scoring points, you're doing a good job, you know. Brands Hatch, we scored points in both races. There were people, ex-MotoGP star Michael Laverty didn't score a point, and you've got to think that you're beating those people, you know, and whether it be 15th, whether it be 10th position, you're riding 100% every single lap of that race, you know, and sometimes you get the best position, sometimes you're 15th. So, you know, race 1 at Donington, Brands Hatch was 11th. I rode just as hard in race 2 and finished 15th. Yeah, and that really is the sort of the way the championship is this year. You've got to be absolutely inch perfect every race, because I didn't look behind me at the minute because there seems to be a trio of 6 or 7 minimum riders queuing up behind you, ready to take that opportunity if it arises.
What about the 2015 the Ninja Kawasaki? What is it like, the big bike? Has it changed much from last year? Is it a lovely thing to race?
For me, the Kawasaki in our team, Ambalai Tag Kawasaki, they've done a lot of development over the winter, and it's a completely different bike to what I was racing last year, as far as what it entails inside. It might look the same, it's the same colour on the outside, but initially the product on the bike, the way the bike's been built, the way the engine's been tuned, it's massively different from last year. A big improvement, which is, I guess, is a bit of a saviour really, because if we'd been where we was last year with last year's bike, we'd perhaps be struggling a little bit more so now. So we're more on a level playing field. The bike is going to only improve throughout the year. And like I say, my strength and fitness will only improve as well, because we're still struggling a little bit with the arm injury, but we're still quite early in the year, and, you know, it's only going to get better from now on, I feel.
And so, realistically, what are your aims for this year then? Besides keeping the van on the road?
Well, most riders are going to say the showdown. I want to finish 7th, so I win. so I win that next best trophy. He still gets to go on the podium at the end of the year. You know, I think it's best out of the rest, whatever. I know, but 7th is my target.
That's great. I think that's wonderful. That's the most realistic aim I've had, ladies and gentlemen, from anybody in 2015. I think Hickey's perfectly right. That man, he's never off the phone and never off Twitter, is he? It's quite extraordinary. I don't know what else he does with his life. So yeah, to say I want to be best of the rest, I think that's great, Richard. All the best. I hope that works out, mate. Richard Cooper, ladies and gentlemen, local star. Why would Nev, they put you at the bottom here, mate? I don't know why they're leaving it. Listen, while I've got, will you just bear with me for 5 minutes while I'll indulge a previous passion? Because for 20 years, I used to be out on the motocross Grand Prix trail as a journalist and photographer, and loved every minute of it. Had some marvellous experiences, travelled to wonderful places, and of course, your heart, there's always a part of your heart in that amazing part of our sport, if you like. And because we've got one of our top lads here, I've got to introduce you to him, because he's a local lad. He's actually South African, allegedly, but his dad's a barking mad Belfast man with blazing blue eyes who used to work for Suzuki in South Africa. So Neville really had no option but to get into bikes when he was young. But he's done the very sensible thing. He's raced over here now for a full decade. He's married an English girl, lives in Northampton, they've got a little babe, and I think he's probably settled here for life. So a former MX national champion who's actually in his last year of racing this year. Please will you welcome Neville Bradshaw, ladies and gentlemen. Neville Bradshaw. Nev, dear boy, good to see you. And one thing I've got to check with you, you're obviously, just turn out, everyone's right around you, I want everybody to be able to see you. You're obviously enjoying fatherhood. How's things going on that side? Because you've had a kid, haven't you, a year or two back?
Yeah, no, that's definitely the most awesome thing that's ever happened to me, is having my little boy, you know. He's getting bigger and bigger, and he's wild, you know. He's a good little boy, but he's wild, and